You know, I remember when the conversation about Xbox tax propagated the internet. A lot of people were called conspirators. They were told that they were crazy. However, if I point out what I want to point out and conclude that it's a new example of the Xbox tax, I hope you might understand why I think so. The conversation around this new Xbox device shows me that the scales are not balanced, and maybe this is just my perception, but I'll let you be the judge. And there's a different yardstick that's used when it comes down to these things. So look at what I'm actually hearing from this clip that was actually pulled from Digital Foundry's, video. I don't know when this video was published. I don't know if it was recent. I'm not even certain. Almost that it's the same Digital Foundry that I'm about to show you after this particular clip. So let me play this clip for you. Then I'll play another clip for you. And then we'll go with this. Are you ready? Check it out.
Yeah, I mean, how do I handle this one? Because I've got the whole "this is an Xbox" thing is starting to rub me up the wrong way. It's an Xbox if you can access your Xbox library and play Xbox games on it without limitations. There are limitations, so that that thing I can understand. It's almost like a break with the past. This is an Xbox. Then maybe in brackets underneath it should be going forward. Because there's, it's not an Xbox really. I can't play my 360 games on there. I can't play my OG games. Limited access to my series library, etc., etc., etc. That's kind of a bit of a challenge for me. And you're quite right, Alex. The kind of plug and play nature of a console isn't quite there yet. There are strides being made, however.
You can get an LCD Steam Deck model for $320 American on the Valve store. It's on sale currently. I'd venture those are models that look pretty favorable up against the cheaper ROG Ally. Certainly much, much cheaper than the Ally X. And then, of course, in dedicated gaming handheld land, you have the Switch 1, Switch 2, much cheaper devices. Switch 2, probably in a lot of respects, pretty comparable handheld experience, if not a better handheld experience, I'd venture, than that cheaper model in terms of game performance. I would think, based on at least on my own testing.
Okay. Now, their categorization of this device is very interesting because Richard Ledbetter says he doesn't think it's an Xbox because it doesn't play OG games, which is a standard that has pretty much destroyed his own claim. But the attitude that they have here compared to the attitude that they have here is very interesting. Listen to how these gentlemen speak on the presentation that Mark Cerny gives about machine learning PSSR at the time, 9 months ago, when the PlayStation 5 Pro was coming to the market. At the same time, I'm going to also show you where the development teams at Asus, ROG, and AMD talk about their collaboration on this device and how even the ROG team call it an Xbox. But their word will never be taken by Digital Foundry, yet Mr. Cerny, everything he tells them here is going to be regurgitated to us. Listen carefully.
I feel was a little bit shorter, if just because it was borrowed AMD technology, but this is indeed quite custom Sony technology, it seems like, from Mark's presentation. So the main focus on PS5 Pro is machine learning upscaling here.
Did you hear that? Oh, let me turn the volume up for you.
RDNA, machine learning, custom RDNA. Now, this is quite interesting, right? Because one might expect that if there was a future RDNA machine learning based feature that Sony felt comfortable with using, they would be using it. Instead, Oliver, they've effectively rolled their own, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So here, the earlier presentation on the ray tracing capabilities, I feel, was a little bit shorter, if just because it was borrowed AMD technology, but this is indeed quite custom Sony technology, it seems like, from Mark's presentation. So the main focus on PS5 Pro is machine learning upscaling here, basically a technology similar to DLSS2 or XeSS. And here, I suppose the task was adapting RDNA2 to be more suitable for machine learning. And the scope of the presentation really what Mark said as well to me was they really wanted to focus on speed and having their PSSR upscale process take as little time as possible. So they had a choice between an NPU solution and a GPU solution here, and they ended up going with a GPU solution. But the problem is when they actually started approaching this problem here and adding extensions for machine learning and actually trying to get machine learning performance up to an acceptable level, is that you start running into limits when you have to start hitting system memory, because you really need so much bandwidth for machine learning operations. You get like absurd levels of bandwidth boundedness.
Okay. So what Mr. Cerny tells you, you come tell us. But how about what Mr. Hune says? Are we allowed to take that into consideration when we're actually talking about this particular device? For instance, like in this particular video, where Jack Hune, one of the top, suits at AMD, talks about the device. I'll play this for you, and then I'll also show you another ROG engineer, significant suit who talks about the device as well.
AI is a companion for players.
Think of all the use cases that would blend AI-based audio, AI-based gaming assisting functions, AI-based rendering capabilities.
We wanted to build a handheld that can play the latest AAA games. I'm super excited. We've done something really, really good together.
A perfect blend of performance, power efficiency, functionality, and amazingly, this is just the beginning.
So he says this, and Mr. Oliver Mack says that these other handhelds provide a better experience than the cheaper one.
Performance, I would think, based on at least on my own testing,
without actually referencing the engineers and what it is that they might be saying, right? And then even in this particular video, where in the ROG, segment here, where we have an engineer that talks about how this particular device, right, is basically an Xbox. Listen for yourself.
Revamp the software on this, turn it into an Xbox without getting rid of everything that makes Windows great. Let's turn this into a console worthy of the name console, worthy of the name Xbox.
So Mr. Whitson Gordon of ASUS, even though he's claiming that this is an Xbox, somehow Digital Foundry is, Richard Ledbetter is telling us that it's not an Xbox. So again, you see how when the subject matter experts are conveying information for us on the Xbox side, a different yardstick is used to measure it, or it's absolutely totally ignored. While in the PlayStation side, Mr. Cerny is telling us this, and man, we are getting everything to the letter. Can you see why and you got to watch the video, to its completion, this video itself. But I'm sure you see why my skeptic meter is raised really high. Again, let's listen to it. If we can have Digital Foundry actually regurgitate this information, would we have any confusion?
Microsoft come in and revamp the software on this, turn it into an Xbox without getting rid of everything that makes Windows great. Let's turn this into a console worthy of the name console, worthy of the name Xbox.
That was the moment where we said, wow.
That's when all the light bulbs started to go off.
So we decided to start a partnership with them and do something wholly unique for us as Xbox.
We have...
Is that right? Why are we not hearing it from y'all? Y'all got D-Batch digging himself into holes that you guys are going to back out of and leave the poor guy sitting there by himself. You did this to him with the 4070. That's what happened. He threw down all this talk and everything. Then when it came down to actually answering the tough questions, he ran away. He blocked the Turk. He did all this. I don't know if he blocked the Turk. I think it was Nib that blocked the Turk. I can't remember exactly how that went. But he yapped and talked and talked and talked. But you can see, guys, I hate the fact, and I say this, that Digital Foundry gets caught up in this. I hate the fact that Digital Foundry has gotten caught up in this, but it doesn't seem to me that they've given the ROG Xbox Ally at least a fair chance in terms of listening to what has been said. Now, maybe they weren't invited and all that. People can talk about that, but I don't want to think that's the case. Even if they never got invited, The information is out there, and they could pull from that informational piece and inform their audiences. I mean, am I right? Or am I crazy? Am I seeing a difference in the handling of these two things? Now I remember why that executive said, he said something along the lines of, everybody could do everything and Xbox could do something or whatever it is, and there's just a different yardstick with which they measure things. I think I get it now. Some of you have even hypothesized that it's just basically a lot of anti-Microsoft, animosity that rubs on the Xbox, enterprise. And that could be some of it. You know what I mean? Like they could try their best to do all of this, but people still look at them from the eyes of Microsoft and such. I guess I can understand that. But the one thing I do ask is, it'd be nice if we could be honest. That's all. I don't think is that too much? Is that actually too much? I don't think it's too much. Else, what we see here is a bias. Ladies and gentlemen, do you not understand the danger of this? Do you guys not understand the danger of this? Some of you are playing a dangerous game, and some of you are actually doing it on so-called professional platforms, publications. The next acquisition that Microsoft is going to make is going to be guided by the propagation of this nonsense that you all have put out here. And you're going to walk them into their next layer of domination. Do you really think that with all of this downplaying in the media and everywhere, it's going to be hard for them to buy another big company? You really think so? Maybe, like I said, upside down world is the conspiracy that Microsoft might basically be feeding these people to pump out downplay and negativity about Xbox, that Xbox might actually dominate. Give me my tinfoil hat. Sorry, I said that without it being on. Now let me go back again and say with my tinfoil hat on. Maybe there is some kind of a back door within which Microsoft is orchestrating this negativity across Xbox so that Xbox can actually gain access into acquiring some of the most insane assets in gaming that it would have otherwise never acquired had they had a positive outlook across the public. Who knows? Maybe I'm just a bumbling fool. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Peace out.